Now you see me. Now you don't arrives after a 9-year slumber, like a caffeinated raccoon rummaging through the trash of your childhood magic fantasies. The third installment of the Horsemen saga promises reunions, heists, and sleight-of-hand wizardry, but what it delivers is a neon-lit kaleidoscope of chaos, charisma, and questionable logic. Gone are the days of subtle mysticism. In its place, the tricks are more grounded, more realistic, yet stripped of the spark that made the originals a delightful tangle of disbelief and wonder. Watching this film is like being handed a deck of cards that has already been shuffled into predictability, yet somehow still manages to slap you with a few surprising aces. The original Horsemen return, blinking against the harsh light of middle age, each carrying the gravitas of past exploits. Jesse Eisenberg is back with that calculating, twitchy grin. Woody Harrelson radiates chaotic energy like a caffeinated philosopher, and Dave Franco wields his charm as if it were a dagger dipped in honey. Their camaraderie is the movie's lifeblood. Every smirk, every sarcastic quip, every micro-expression of "we've done this dance before" makes the film worth the ride. The magic isn't just in the CGI. It's in the actors remembering what made them magical in the first place. Into this familiar chaos stride the newcomers, Justice Smith, Dominic Sessa, and Ariana Greenblatt. They are the echoes of the original Horsemen, a fresh, slightly sparkly layer over the vintage deck. Bosco, Sessa, exudes protective intensity. Charlie, Smith, glides with easygoing mischief. And June, Greenblatt, snaps with intelligence sharper than a guillotine made of playing cards. For the most part, they blend into the ensemble like sugar in a cauldron of espresso, adding sweetness without exploding the pot. Some criticism is warranted. Greenblatt's expressions are static enough to make a wax museum nervous, but she fits the archetype the film requires, a younger mirror reflecting old glory. The villain, Veronica Vanderburg, played by Rosamund Pike, is a curious contradiction. Pike's talent is undeniable, yet her South African accent experiment wavers like a tightrope over Niagara Falls. Her presence lacks menace. Her motivations are sketched in pastel rather than ink, and the final showdown lands with the subtlety of a fireworks shot from a hand grenade. She is simultaneously cool and undercooked, a Bond villain audition tape that wandered into the wrong movie. The giant blood diamond at the story's center serves less as a narrative driver and more as a sparkling prop for the Horsemen to show off their sleight-of-hand prowess. Director Ruben Fleischer keeps the pedal to the metal. Scenes whipped by in a tornado of illusions, verbal sparring, and action beats that occasionally defy physics in ways only magic and editing can justify. The first hour shines brightest. The OG Horsemen are coaxed from hiding, collide with the new blood, and the synergy is palpable. The banter snaps, the tricks pop, and the sheer audacity of their heists makes you want to clap your hands until they fall off. There's a sense of giddy anarchy here, like watching a circus tent collapse and reassemble mid-performance. However, the mid to late film stretches begin to show cracks. Pacing rockets ahead, narrative glue loosens, and character motivations become sketchier than a doodle on a napkin during a magic convention. The clever twists that once felt like intricate puzzle boxes now land with a Scooby-Doo unmasking energy, satisfying enough to nod along, but lacking the punch that made the first two films zing with exhilaration. Heists resolve with frustrating ease. Tension is diluted, and stakes feel performative rather than visceral. Watching the film is like attending a fireworks display in broad daylight. Technically impressive, but the awe is muted. The score and soundtrack, including Lady Gaga's Abracadabra, sprinkle glimmer over the proceedings, nudging the chaos with a pulse of pop-drenched spectacle. The humor, often derived from endless verbal jousting, will either charm or exhaust depending on your tolerance for nonstop dialogue and ego clashes. It's a college cafeteria of personalities, loud, messy, occasionally brilliant, occasionally ridiculous. Now You See Me, Now You Don't is a funhouse of contradictions. Meticulously choreographed illusions that clash with slapdash plotting, charismatic performers caught in a narrative blender, and a story that simultaneously panders to nostalgia while attempting to rope in a younger generation. It's a Vegas street show masquerading as a cinematic heist thriller, flashy and chaotic, occasionally dazzling, occasionally head-scratching. For fans of the franchise, seeing the cast back together is a nostalgic thrill ride. For newcomers, The movie is accessible enough to enjoy, if shallow in emotional investment. In essence, the film feels like a greatest hits compilation, a medley of old tricks with a sprinkling of new magic, occasionally clever, occasionally absurd. It's not transcendent, it's not groundbreaking, and it won't make you question reality, but it will entertain, provoke chuckles, and leave you marveling at the collective audacity of its cast. It's B-tier magic cinema at its most fun, chaotic, overstuffed, a little tacky, but undeniably enjoyable. Ultimately, Now You See Me, Now You Don't is the cinematic equivalent of a coin disappearing from one hand and appearing in the other, except the coin is your suspension of disbelief, and the trick leaves you grinning, shaking your head, and secretly impressed anyway. Like a deck of playing cards spun by caffeinated raccoons, it's messy, unpredictable, and impossible not to watch. Magic may have lost some of its mystery, but the spectacle remains, louder, flashier, and gleefully unrepentant. And that, my friends, is a trick worth seeing.